Yeah. So today we can see about the basic concept of stored procedures. This is very mostly used. It's like very important topic in SQL actually. So today we can see basic definition of stored procedure and what is the need of stored procedures and how to create and how can we execute the store procedure as well as how to alter. And there are various kinds we can create the store procedure like you by passing the parameters or without parameters. So we can see how to create a store procedure without parameters and to start with. Then we can create a store procedure with parameters as well. Then and how can we delete or remove a store procedure. So these topics at basic level with examples we can go through today. So first of all, what is a store procedure? Now basically, what happens is like in general applications, uh, whenever we extracting the data, we use SQL queries, right? So what happens is suppose from one application, if we are we want to extract some data. Okay, maybe you see I'm going from the application, some of the application which is implemented using the web. From web application, we are retrieving the data, for example. So that is the scenario I am just trying to explain. So then what we do is from the whatever the it's like programming language used to implement the web application, when we are connecting to the SQL database, we use some queries, right, to extract the data. So if we are directly using the queries, um, for example, I have an employee table, right? Basic example, right? In all the organization, I can have an employee table, and if I want to display the employees details, right? So on a web page, so I can use select star from employee on that page, right? So what happens is every time whenever you call this, you write this query from the application, it will come to the database and it will execute all the time this query, and it will display the required details. So for in case suppose I don't have a star, only I have 3 4 fields: first name, last name, right? And what happens is whenever you implement an application, create an application, you have to compile that code in the front end. Then only you have to deploy that as well, so that you can use that web application. And what happens is you see then if I have these details to be displayed on a web page, and in the code I am writing this query to display these details, so that is well and fine, so it will execute correctly. We can display these details. But going forward, suppose if we have uh, some kind of new column has to be added here, like job title, then what has to be done is again we have to go to the code from the front end application, and I have to add this column in that query, inline query, and then I have to again compile that code and execute it and deploy it. Then only this query can return the results for me on the web page. So I this is the for example, whenever we are using the queries again and again, another thing is like then the best thing is like go for a store procedure. So store procedure is nothing but a pre-compiled set of SQL statements, uh, and that can be used directly by executing it. So no need to compile, only once it will be compiled at the back end, and directly that can be used. So coming to the basic definition of stored procedure is it is a pre-compiled set of SQL statements, and whenever we are using queries again and again, then simply we can go for a stored procedure, and we can save it into the database. So in this scenario, what happens is like, as I given this example, right? When we are adding this job title, in that case, what happens is, if we are using the store procedure, then in the backend, this store procedure will be saved. then only in the, and you will call that store procedure in the application. Store procedure name will be used in the application. And what happens, you will go to the backend and you will make changes only in the store procedure. And you will execute in, you will just execute the store procedure in the backend only, and you will save it in the backend. So no need to make any changes to the application and deploy it again and again. So this is the basic use of advantage of using store procedure. So whenever we are using the queries again and again, then we can go for a store procedure, which is a precompiled set of SQL statements. So this is the basic example of store procedure, and basic definition of store procedure. And store procedures will be saved here. If you see my screen, under the database, there is a programmability folder. Inside the programmability folder, there will be a folder store procedure. Okay, in this, the store procedures will be saved. So this is a basic definition of store procedure. How to create a store procedure. So basic syntax of creating a store procedure is create. We can use proc, or we can use also procedure. So both the things we can use. And procedure name we give. Then we have to give it as begin. And here we'll have all these SQL statements. Whatever logic we want to write, we can write it over here. And end. So this is the basic syntax of writing a store procedure. Create procedure, create proc you can use, or create procedure also you can use. Okay, then we have to give the procedure name, and then you have to give as keyword. Then use begin and end block. Inside this begin and end, we will write whatever query we want to write actually for our as per our requirement. So this is the syntax of creating a store procedure. For example, let us go with one example. You see, I want to display employee details. Okay, I am using this AdventureWorks database, and I want to just display get all the employee details with their hire date and their salaried flag. Okay, whether they are salaried or not. So just I want to know that. So when I want to, this is a kind of common query only, right? So most of the times we might use this query. So I can go for a store procedure, and I can simply, you see, how can I get those details is I can write this query. So this already we have seen how to join tables and extract the data. So simply I have already joined those two tables here to get the employee details. Like one is employee table I have joined with the person table to get the person name, first name, middle name, last name, and hide that I am getting it from human resources employee table. Okay, so I have joined these two tables and I have formed this query. And to save this query as a store procedure, we can create a store procedure like create procedure, and I have given a name as like this USP underscore MK underscore get employee details with hire date. And common syntax we can use is, it is better always to use indicate the name which resembles it as a store procedure. And so that is why I'm using as USP underscore, and I have given some name here. So it might not be mandatory, right? It is optional. So whatever organization standards are there, based upon that we can give the store procedure name. Then I have given as I am trying to extract the details with hydrate. I have named this stored procedure like get employee details with hydrate. So only the thing which we need to remember here while giving the stored procedure name is try to avoid not to give the stored procedure name starting with sp underscore. Okay, because if you see there are two types of stored procedures you can see here: stored procedures, system stored procedures, and the remaining are like user created stored procedures. So these are system stored procedures are created by Microsoft. So these all stored procedures are prefixed with sp underscore if you see. So it is better to avoid sp underscore, as we do not know whether if we are using the name like which is given already present in the system stored procedure, or going forward Microsoft SQL team can again create a stored procedure with this name. So in this case, we can face some kind of conflicts. So that is the reason always avoid not to give sp underscore in front of the stored procedure name. So that is why just I am using this following this thing, like I am giving the stored procedure name as USP underscore MK underscore the means like why I'm using this stored procedure. So using this name, I can understand that. So okay, this stored procedure is trying to extract the details of the employees with hydrate. So I have written that query already. So now let me create it. Okay. Uh, execute. Commands completed successfully, right? So if I go to here to see that, let me refresh it. You see, this is the stored procedure which is being created. Now I want to see what is written in this stored procedure, right? So I can right click here and I can go to script stored procedure as create to or alter to, anything I can use. Okay, new query editor window. So like this I can open, so that it will open me the stored procedure which is already created in the database. Or using the query also we can open the stored procedure. Okay, for that we can use sp underscore help text. So as I said, sp underscore is system created, right? So system stored procedure. So when I use sp underscore help text stored procedure command, and I give our stored procedure name. So what is the stored procedure name? USP underscore MK get employee details with hydrate. So simply I can use this command sp underscore help text and click on execute. So here I can get all the text of our stored procedure. So simply I can copy it. I want to make any changes, or I want to see what is the query and what is the stored procedure. Then simply I can paste it over here. So like this also, I can read my stored procedure. I can see the text of my stored procedure. So this is creating a stored procedure. And here we don't have any parameters, right? So this is a stored procedure without any parameters. So now the stored procedure is created. Now we can see how to see the text of the stored procedure as well. So we have already seen it. Now, how can I make use of this stored procedure, right? So how can I execute it to get the results of my stored procedure? So stored procedure name is this one. So I can use the query as exec. This is the command I use. Proc, sorry, exec and stored procedure name I have to give. Name. To execute the stored procedure. Exec. Let me execute it. You see, now I can get the query within the stored procedure will get executes, and it will display the results. If you see the result pane, see it is displaying me all the details of the employees, which is mentioned in the store procedure. So what we are selecting in store procedure, business entity ID, first name, middle name, last name, high rate, and salary plan. So instead of executing the query, what I am doing here, I am executing the store procedure with the given name. So either you can use exec or you can use execute as well. But generally we use exec, but if execute also can be used. And one more thing is here, like we might not need this 290 rows affected as well, as per the means like it is not relevant, right? So if you want to see how many rows are affected, then that is fine. But generally it might not be needed to see how many rows are affected when we are selecting the rows and all. So for that purpose, if we don't want to see that, we can simply write set no count on actually. So already this store procedure is already created, right? So if I am going to create again, so I'll get an error message, right? There is already an object name with the store procedure name in the database. So if already an object is existing in the database, like table or store procedure or view, we cannot create the same object again with the same name. So we have to go for alter. So this is altering the store procedure. So altering store procedure, what I am doing, I'm just adding set no count on. So the need of adding this is like, as I am getting the number of rows affected, I do not want to get that. So that is why simply I'm adding set no count on and I'm altering it. Right now, the commands completed successfully. So let me execute the store procedure again. If we come to messages, so now I don't see that rows affected here. Right, this is altering the store procedure. So, and inside that store procedure, actually now we can write our queries. So whatever queries, whatever requirement we have, whatever logic we need as per the requirement, we can write. We can use all type of queries, all kinds of logic, if, else, where, and all conditional group by, and all the things, whatever we generally use for the queries. So all those things can be written within this store procedures, and that can be compiled and that can be stored within the database. So another way of executing the store procedure is like directly from the UI. Okay, so instead of executing from using the query, we can also execute the store procedure by going to the store procedure, like programmability, and right click on the store procedure name and click on execute store procedure. If any parameters are there, then it will ask for the parameters to be shown over here. Otherwise, simply click on OK. So this way also we can execute the store procedure. But common practice is like we execute using the exec store procedure name. Any questions till now? Like we have seen what is a store procedure, how to create a store procedure without parameters, and then how to like get the text of the store procedure, then executing the store procedure.
Yes, answered, but I have a doubt.
Yeah.
You told that if we execute these queries, then we need to compile again and again. That's why we skip this compilation process. We use these store procedures. What about views? If we create a view, it will also compile again and again.
Yeah, actually, good question actually. So views why we use view is a like means like virtual table, right? So when
Yes,
we
yes,
go
yes.
for select queries, then only we use views, right?
Yes.
So in views, whereas in stored procedures, right, you can do all the business logic. Okay, you can use, you can perform all the operations, CRUD operations like create, insert, updates, delete, and any other transactions will also be there. So that all these kind of logics you can use. Whereas in views, what we do only we select the data and display it.
Yes.
Okay. So whereas in stored procedure, it is not like that. In stored
We
procedures, you
we
can
can do all the CRUD operations.
yeah, all the CRUD operations you can able to do it.
By using alter command.
No, here in queries you have to use, right? If you want to
Ah,
update, suppose middle name of one person, right? So
oh,
then you can go for update statement, right? Update set, you will use update commands you can use, right? So whereas in views you cannot update, right? You cannot update and you cannot even insert or delete the records from means like
this is virtual
when
table
you're
application.
creating a view.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Means the name we will name it as something for updation, something for deletion, store procedure name. Then we can use it,
Huh.
right? For updation and something else. What?
For updation, you can write your query and you can give your own name. So for example, create procedure USP underscore
Update something.
USP underscore based upon means like update, we can update employee details. Okay. Like this
Right.
you can give and you can write your query here,
Okay. Okay.
right? Update
Right.
employee send. Let's see that. Sorry, person, right? Sorry, not employee. P dot middle name equals to test where middle name equals to empty, suppose, right? So this is a
Okay.
store procedure I have created.
To give the schema name, person dot person.
Key one on my person dot person.
Uh,
Okay, yeah. Now this store procedure got created. So if you execute this store procedure, all the
empty name, middle names will be replaced
employees
by
will be
test.
replaced with test.
Test.
Okay.
Yes. Right. Okay. Right.
Yeah, like this we can use all the update, we can use delete, we can use all those business logic, whatever required. that can be used within the stored procedure. But in view, we cannot use all these operations.
Okay, right.
One of the difference actually. Okay.
Okay.
So, anything else? How to check, Emma? Okay. So create stored procedure, execute stored procedure, alter stored procedures we have seen. Now let me drop it, delete it. Okay, how to remove the stored procedure. Okay. For that we have a command drop. Drop drop procedure name. So I'm executing this command. Commands completed successfully. Okay. So when I am trying to execute this, could not find stored procedure. So it has been removed from the stored procedure. So this is the command to drop a stored procedure. Okay, till here clear?
Yes.
Okay. We comment this.
Proceeding further, can I add some comments from my so that
Yes, Bilma. Yeah.
so we have this function method, right? So my theory is in the days that SQL was being developed, a few programming languages or popular programming languages used the term called procedure. So if you observe, this is like a function, right? Create procedure and you write some code inside of it.
Correct.
It's kind of a function, and alternatively can be used, the term procedure can be used for it. So for some,
Yeah.
so then what is the stored procedure then? Right? A stored procedure is stored on the database, like we saw in that programmability node, right? Under programmability, we have functions, and the main thing is stored procedure. We have other things too, but we have stored procedures too, and that is quite commonly used database object. So what is a stored procedure? It is actually view is stored on the database too. The other things are stored on the database too, but here stored, in my opinion, doesn't refer to storage on the database, but it is something else is stored with respect to the stored procedure, that is an execution plan. So if you write the query and execute it, the SQL engine builds a SQL execution plan or just execution plan, and it runs that query according to that plan. For simple queries like select star from employee, the plan is not that big or not complex, but if you have joins and multiple joins, it tries to build the best plan so as to execute. Let's say there is a where condition, there is inner join, there are lots of inner joins, and there are a few left joins. So it tries to build an optimum plan so that it execute that query. With stored procedure, what it stores is it stores that plan until it is changed, until the stored procedure is changed with alter or drop or create or something. Whenever the stored procedure is created or changed, it builds a plan and it stores that plan somewhere internally. And when we run that stored procedure, it runs that stored procedure according to the plan, hence giving us performance enhancement, better performance. So why use stored procedures? Because it has an execution plan stored inside somewhere in the system, somewhere in the database system.
Is the plan user defined or the system defined?
System defined. The system will build a plan internally, not us. We
Oh,
write
okay.
the query.
Logic will be ours and the plan will be systems, right?
According to the indexes, according to the joins, according to which table you want. Yeah, even I don't know that much detail, but this is on a broader level. That is what it is.
Okay, right.
Carry on.
If we consider, if we want to go some destination, we have so many routes. The best, shortest path, we will not know. The system may know. That's why it will make the shortest path to execute the logic or something like that, right?
Yeah, system may not know too. Just like we don't know, the system has an algorithm built in, it might not be optimum in all cases. So in that case, we'll have
Okay.
to analyze and probably rewrite our query in a different way. So normally the queries that we are writing, I'm writing, Hasab is writing, they are optimum because kind of we are used to how to write it.
Okay.
Practice, you will get better too. We'll probably get into some of the things that results in performance gain and how to write those queries, how to start, which table to start, which table not to start, how to split and all that stuff. Probably that will give us some clue. But because we are not, me and Hamza are not database developers per se, we are kind of full stack. So we have a limited knowledge on this end. Whatever is needed for a full stack, the full stack developer. So even I
Okay.
will detail, but this that is what it is. It's an interview question too. Why use stored procedures at all? Because the stored, when we create a stored procedure or even alter it, the system internally builds an execution plan and it reuses that plan. It doesn't have to build that plan again and again. But with query, we don't have that advantage. With views, we don't have that advantage. Carry on.
Yeah, that is the main reason. Comparatively with queries, it has more performance faster. It will get executed, right? So that is one of the main advantage of using stored procedures. Performance will be improved comparatively queries. Okay. So then, after this, we can see store procedure with parameters. Okay. So basically, in real time, you can see, right? So what we are doing here, simply we are displaying the employee details. But sometimes what we require, we don't want to display all the employee details, and we want to know a set of employees. I'm taking one example, but a set of employees who joined after particular date. For example, I have already prepared this query. Like I want to know the employees joined only after a particular date, 13/1/2001, instead of all the employees. So I can put that condition in the where query, and I can get the list of employees, right? So, but it is not. But generally, what happens is real time. I don't want to know. I don't want to hard code this value, right? So I sometimes I want to pass the value. I want to know who joined after 2010, who joined after 2001, who joined after 2002. So based upon the input parameters, I want to fetch my results and display. I want to see that, right? In that case, what happens? So if I hard code this value, every time it is going to execute this date only. So in that case, we can use the parameters, and we can pass the parameters to the store procedure. So based upon that parameter, dynamically, the passed value will be sent to the store procedure, and required results will be fetched and displayed to the user. So how to create then store procedure with parameters? So already I have dropped it. So drop the store procedure. So I'm using a create command, and let me use one parameter first. Okay. Let me use both the parameters. Okay. The syntax will be like this. So create procedure name, and after the procedure name, we can pass the variables, right? So what is the requirement I have? I want to know. I want to, like, suppose for example we have a search screen on the front end. I want to pass the parameter with hire date, and also I want to search the employees with the first name. Okay, so that is the reason I am using two parameters here. So after the procedure name, we have to provide the parameter names here, like at the rate. So how to provide it? Like use at the rate symbol and give some name, hire date, and the data type, and at the rate first name. As I am passing two parameters, so I am using two variable names over here, like at hire date and at first name, and varchar is the data type. Then as begin, okay. It is the same thing now, right? So this is a query which I use when I'm trying to fetch some values using some conditions, right? So here in the hire date, I am using the variable name which I am using here, right? At hire date. So in the condition, I need to put that parameter. Okay, where hire date is greater than at hire date, and I am trying to search employees with some first name which I am passing. So p dot first name like operator, right? So like the first name variable I'm passing, right? So let me execute this. Commands completed successfully. Now, if I see this store procedure, hide date first name are the parameters, and within the query, I am passing those two parameters. So this store procedure got executed. Is created within the database. Now, how to execute it, right? For executing the store procedure, same command I use, exec, but here, if I don't pass parameters, what happens? It will ask for the parameters to be supplied, because you see here, procedure or function expects parameter hide date, which was not supplied, right? So I need to pass the parameters over here. If I don't specify